absolutely destroyed the Rockies over the last 3 games. In fact, a plus 39 run differential, I think, is what the final tally was, which is funny because the nice thing with a big run differential like that is that Yankees announcer Michael Kay is finally happy. No man has felt the wrath of Blue Jays fans like Michael Kay has. That is what it feels like.
I almost feel bad for him because, like, again, being somebody who is regularly on camera, sometimes you say some shit that after the fact you go, did I really mean it that way? And I'm very confident that at this current juncture in time, Michael Kay would love to retract that.
It does feel that way. Now, what is interesting is that you guys actually had a little bit of an interaction with Mr. K on Twitter, right? Nick, can you just kind of give a rough overview for everyone what that interaction was, and then we'll throw to Adam for how it ended.
I mean, I actually don't even remember exactly how it started, but it was something along the lines of, look at the standings, tell me about the run differential, where are the Yankees, ha ha ha.
To give the context, I think we were facing the Yankees.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, we were literally facing the Yankees in the last series, and we were pummeling them, of course. And then I think we were like, it was the one stream we weren't streaming for, or the one game we weren't streaming for that series.
Right.
And we were watching it. We were pretty hyped up. We had a couple beers in ourselves.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
Effectively, we've decided to start our Blue Jays Today villain arc, and we've been coming for the folks now on Twitter. So watch out.
And what you need to understand is they've been the good guys your whole podcast.
Oh,
right
of course,
from the start.
Of course, yes.
Just a couple clean cut kids out there doing the Lord's work, talking Blue Jays, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the trolls have pushed you too far. That's what it feels like.
That's where we're at right now. Yeah, we actually we just started our first ever troll of the month. So we decided that it was time to start honoring these certain individuals who just go above and beyond in the community, really come after you, your personal life, your loved ones. And I just think that, you know what, if you got that time and commitment on your hands, you deserve an award.
It's a lot.
You know what I mean?
It's a lot of work, Scott.
A little bit of admiration. So yes, our first inaugural troll of the month was Dr. Internet. Not sure he's a real person. If he is, congratulations.
He's not a real person, but he is a real doctor. You play softball.
Please feel free to let him know that we say hello.
Just for everyone who doesn't know how this Michael Kay story ends, it literally ended with Michael Kay, the announcer of the Yankees, responding to you guys on Twitter, basically saying, I've already apologized to Jamie Campbell. We've settled this thing already. Enough. And they go, do you want to come on the podcast?
Yeah.
It didn't land.
Listen,
come on.
We knew he was never going to come on the podcast, but, like, shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. Your boys can shoot your shot, and I really like that. Before we let you go here, I do want to talk about this bandwagon's full. Blue Jays fans, and I love it. I say let everyone on the bandwagon. I'm so happy that baseball has become, once again, something that everyone in this country is interested in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I do feel like there's different kinds of Blue Jays fans now that we're seeing. Because 2024, it was the hardcore guys. 2024, there were no bandwagon jumpers.
Oh, yeah, well, Scott, you brought up that we had like 2,000 people in the stream or whatever that is. Last year, we had 80. There was 80 people on a September Tuesday night watching Blue Jays baseball. We're like, hey, we're just a little campfire right here, just hanging out. So yeah, it was the hardcore fans.
So out of curiosity, you guys are interacting with people all the time. Are there let's talk Leafs fans, right? Because I feel like the hardcore hockey boys, they're on board with baseball now.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely in there. And I think that you're finding this really neat group right now among the Toronto Blue Jays fans. And I know that some people are kind of in this boat in this room because I've actually had personal conversations with you about this. But I think to my personal life, and I think, back in the days when I was a single lad and wasn't locked down, and those nights when you're out at the bar, had a couple too many, and maybe you're having a little flirtatious adventure. And the internal monologue is, do I really want to do this again? And you're still trying to figure it out. And I think that there is a large part of Toronto Blue Jays fans right now deciding, do we really want to sleep with this team?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, you do.
Yeah, you do. But it is kind of a weird vibe with Blue Jays fans right now because there is some trepidation, right? There is this we had a question on our mailbag. We do that every Tuesday on the walk-off. And the lady wrote in and she was like, I know that this is a really weird question, but do you guys love this team? Jesse, let's start with you here just because this team, the one thing that they have done incredibly well all year is they don't strike out. Not only do they not strike out, everyone on this team puts in hits.
Yeah. I think one of the more unique things about this team, and obviously these two can probably speak even better than I can about it, but when you have a 1 through 9 lineup where a rally can start quite literally at any spot in the order, it's a luxury that I don't think in my time being a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays, I've really ever seen to this degree. And I'm someone who looked at the lineup all winter long. I was just shitting on this team.
Yeah.
Like just all winter. It's like, look, they're a last place team. They're probably similar group of guys as last year. What were the positives that we were looking forward to this year? And then it took, a couple months. You're like, well, this is pretty much what I expected. And then they go on that crazy heater, 17 of 21 or whatever it was. And it's the contributions, I think, from the guys that are that you weren't expecting it from that have been the key to this season. It's the Addison Bargers, the Nathan Lucases of the world. And Miles Straw has been unbelievable. It's just guy after guy. You plug them in. And I do think that the coaching staff really deserves a lot of credit in the sense that they're putting players in positions to succeed. And when you have the ability to platoon at multiple positions and you can put players like Barger, you only really play him against right-handed pitching, it goes a long way. And Aaron Boone had a really good quote that I brought up a couple times on the radio where he just said the Blue Jays do an excellent job of having a team where you can really just throw them in the absolute perfect position where they can get on base and then end up scoring. So I didn't see it coming, but man, I've been enjoying it because it's been really, really fun to watch. And it's crazy to think that this is where they are.
It is. And the other thing, and Ben, I'll throw to you here, just the idea that a guy like Anthony Santander, their big home run hitter, right? They go get him 5 years, spend $100 million on this guy to be the bopper in the middle of the lineup. He goes down. They call up Addison Barger from AAA. I can't even think of another organization that this has happened to where you call up a rookie and he just steps in and does what the $100 million man's supposed to do.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, I would say. It's a little bit like Tampa Bay Rays-y kind of that they can, and I don't mean to evoke horrible feelings from people about the late teens and early 20s Rays, but it's kind of that ability, I think, to develop guys and get guys up to the big leagues. And like Jesse said, put them in a position to succeed. And a lot of it, I think, goes back to last deadline too. Maybe not with Barger, but finding a way to acquire some talent, not rip the team apart entirely and set themselves up rather than blowing it up and entering a rebuild that no one wants and half the time doesn't work out. Anyway, they found a way to keep talent, add to it. And it's been fun. I mean, it feels like, and it's the great thing about baseball that I think other sports sometimes don't have. It feels like there's something magical there, something maybe a little intangible where Nathan Lucas is leading off for the best team in the American League. And I say this with no slight to him, but he barely played in the major leagues before September of last season. And he's been awesome. And like Jesse said, Miles Straw, who a lot of people groaned about the Blue Jays getting in the offseason, has been so important to them. Ernie Clement was released by the Athletics 3 years ago. The Brewers are doing a similar thing. And they talk about their team, we've been cut, we've been traded, we've been disregarded. It kind of feels like the Blue Jays are that kind of team. In a good way, it's a little bit of the island of misfit toys, but they found a way to get the best out of everyone, I think. And I think that's what's so endearing about them to a lot of people right now, is it's as fun as it is to watch the teams that hit all those home runs in the mid-2010s. Those teams are awesome. It's a throwback. It's something different. It's unique, and it's so out of nowhere, I think. And it really just caught the city by surprise.
Look at what the guy has done OBP, right? On base percentage, he is one of the best in all of baseball. He's had he's in the middle of an on-base streak right now. I think it's 23 games.
Yeah.
And he's done this before this season too, where he hit, I think it was 30 or something ridiculous like that. It's odd because Vladdy does kind of mimic this team a little, right? Like if you look up and down the line, they kind of all do what Vladdy does. They make good swing choices. They work the pitchers. They get into the bullpen. Are you at a point where maybe Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the best thing for this team? Like, do you think that maybe the all the talk about the power and stuff is blinding people to actually what he is doing, which is leading this team?
Yeah, I talked to Jamie Campbell yesterday on the fan pregame, and I said, I'm just done with the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hate, because I don't know how you can criticize. I think the money is one thing, but good players are going to make money. What are you going to hold it for the next 10 years? You're going to hold it against someone that they made $500 million in a contract that their agent negotiated for them? The guy chose to stay. He chose to stay. He wants to be here. And if he was hitting 240 and had an OBP of 280 and had 10 home runs, then he would be a lightning rod, and rightfully so. But that is not the case at the moment. If you look at his numbers, he's batting close to 300. His OBP is top 6 in the American League. Like, people forget that. They think like, oh, he's not hitting home runs, so he must be 50th in OBP in the American League. He's not. He's in the top 6 with upside there, because historically, over his career, he has been unbelievable in the second half of the year. And that has usually been what has spurred his stats to be what they end up being at the end of the year. So the point you just made is 100% correct, that if you look at what makes this lineup tick, and it's batting average, it's on base percentage, he is the one that is doing that at the best clip of anybody else on the team, with maybe Bo Bichette over the last little while being the exception. So at some point, I think you just have to say to yourself, look, I'm going to start thinking about the fact that he's making all this money. Like, it doesn't matter, really. It's not a salary cap league. None of us know how much Rogers is willing to pay to other players. So who gives a shit? Like, who cares that he's making $500 million? It doesn't matter. He's playing really well. The team's in first place. They have the best record in the American League. Like, stop complaining about it. That's it. Stop complaining about it.
Ben, where are you at on Bo Bichette? Because he's getting hot too, and we are seeing the Bo Bichette that we remembered seeing in 2021 and 2022.
Yeah, that was pretty fun in Colorado. To see what Bo was doing. He had played an all-star game there, but with the history his family has in that ballpark, it was cool to see fans recognize him there for the Rockies, and he's, even before that series, he's getting going. I think we saw flashes of it to start the year. He would have big weeks or big stretches, but it was a little bit up and down, and there was that weird home road thing that I think was more coincidence than anything, but it was there. And now I think we're really starting to see the guy that was probably as consistent as anyone for the Blue Jays from 2021 to 23, I would say. I mean, he's a throwback in some ways. He's just a hit machine. He's not going up there looking for walks, although he is walking a little bit more this year. But he's probably going to lead the American League in hits, to be honest. Maybe all of Major League Baseball in hits at this point, especially if the big guy on the Yankees is still doing what he's doing, which is a little bit less than he was doing before. So it's been awesome. When he hits for power, it's a huge bonus, and it's not what people want to think about. I don't bring it up to be a downer, but he's setting himself up nicely. Whatever happens to him after this season, his house is going to get a new installment on it, and he's probably going to get a couple new suits or a watch because he's earned it. He has been awesome. He's been leading this team, and I think it's a lot of fun to watch him at his best. He is one of the more entertaining guys, I think, in all of
And
baseball.
it's about time. Every time I see his watch, I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah. Just a 10-year-old Rolex. You don't have a 40-year-old, but no, he's been great. It's really cool to watch him. I think that he's such a smart hitter. I would say in so many ways, he has the ability to change what he wants to do at the plate from pitch to pitch and really throw guys off, and is so good at situational hitting, which I think is still a huge thing, to be honest, in the game. That he's an awesome guy to have hit cleanup. I know he's bounced it too a little bit, but I really love him hitting in that fourth spot with Vladdy getting on base like he does, with guys like Nathan Lucas and hopefully George Springer soon back in that second spot in the order. It's fun to watch him because he's just a guy that I think helps you win baseball games when he's up there swinging it the way he does. He understands what he has to do in each spot, and in that way he kind of embodies the team as well, where he's willing to shorten up and flip a single to right field if there's guys on second and third, or when the moment calls for it, he'll swing out of his shoes, and if he misses, he'll do it again. He's not going to get embarrassed by that at all. So it's a cool guy to watch.
Keegs, I know this is all speculation, and both you and I love trying to read Bo Bichette's body language and just guess what he's thinking. Where are you at on an extension for Bo Bichette? Do you think that this is something, and obviously we don't really know, so you are kind of just trying to read the tea leaves here. Do you think that keeping Bo Bichette is something this organization does want to do?
Oh, definitely. He's catnip for body language experts, absolutely. And Bo Bichette does not like to wear the home run jacket and shake his hips and do all those things that everyone loves, but that's not him. Like he's not going to move to LA and start dancing, It's and I asked him would be if he just really comes out of his shell.
That would be one of my favorite things.
Finally, I can focus on my art. But I asked Bo about this a couple weeks ago, and I said when I kind of have a personal rule, and I said the same thing last year to him, think of like Danny Jansen, for example. I'll annoy you in spring training if it's a contract year. Once the season starts, I'll ask you one time. And Jansen last year, I'm trying to think of what city we were in, but it was mid-July, and I asked him one time about future contract, trade deadline. And a couple weeks ago, I went up to Bo and I said, listen, man, this is your one time, and I'm going to shut up after this. And he kind of gave the polite sigh of like, okay, all right, like let's do this. Like, which all I ask is to be tolerated. But he said, listen, the things I want are to win, to enjoy doing it, and to be with a team that gives a damn about winning too. And they're checking all the boxes right now. So this goes back to the tiebreaker stuff. And I think the Jays have that, He and Vladdy have talked their whole lives about trying to play the rest of their careers together. And they mean it. They really do. And money is going to be what determines all of this, absolutely. But the Adames deal, like moving up from that's a good point. Willie Adames was, what, 7 years, $182 million? So Bo will be 27, move that up to 8 years, 210, 220, 230, like into that range.
Keegs, do you go 10 years on Bo Bichette?
It depends on the team, because a lot of teams, when you're spending that much money, I mean, listen, if you're buying a car or a house, you're looking for what's wrong with it. And as Blue Jays fans, you're looking for what's right with Bo Bichette, and I get that. He's a brilliant baseball player. But if you are another big market team, you're looking for why it will go wrong. And Bo Bichette, like his sprint speed, for example, off a cliff.
Yeah.
Is he a shortstop? I don't know. Other teams are going to say that. They're going to say no. And they're going to try to pay him like a second or third baseman. Right? So I think that Bo Bichette's market will have a massive gap between the floor and the ceiling. Like some teams are going to try to pay him for 6 years as a second baseman, and some team in there eventually will try to go 10 years as a shortstop. It's going to be a massive gap. So I don't even know if this comes down to two teams being close. I think it's a real big gap. But the body language stuff, he's never said a bad word about this city in his life. He loves it here. And if they win here, Jesus, that only helps.
Scott, can I jump in for a Bo and Vlad quickly?
Please.
One of my favorite friendships in baseball.
Yes.
Because you could not picture two people that on a day-to-day are more opposite human beings than those two.
It's like the straight man and the jokester.
It's Ferris Bueller and Cameron. I really think that it's the mix, and all of us think we're Ferris, but we're probably really Cameron at the end of the day. If we're being honest with ourselves, most of us are more Cameron than Ferris, and they love each other, and they're so different. And I just think it's awesome. I mean, they're so different at the end of the day, but it's clear that those guys are really good friends. And I think that there are other Blue Jays in the past that have come up together and they've been great friends, and you get up and things get complicated. But I think for these two guys, as much as it could be complicated by contracts and whatever, I just think that they find a way to still be really good friends. And it's funny to me, but it's also obviously really nice that these two guys, despite being in a way different spot in their lives than they were when they were 18 or 19 when they met each other, are still this close. And I'm sure that matters when it comes down to it. Not that Bo's just going to sign back with the Blue Jays for friendship purposes when there's hundreds of millions of dollars on the line. But if it's a negligible difference, I do think that.
If Shane Bieber is good, how will that impact the starting rotation? And who do you think will move to the bullpen?
Jesse, would you like to decide who moves to the ball?
Let's go, manager.
This is probably the trickiest question that's going to be talked about for the next 2.5 months.
It's a good question.
It's a great question. Shane Bieber, if he's healthy, is not the one that's going to the bullpen. There's no doubt about that. He is an ace or a 2 in your staff. There's no doubt in my mind that if he's healthy, he is a part of the rotation. So obviously somebody would have to go. And I've actually been thinking about this a lot over the last week and trying to come up with some sort of answer to actually be articulate about it on the radio. And it's been challenging because every guy in the rotation has been really good. But what I will say is that Eric Lauer is someone who has experience in that role. So I think there's an opportunity for that to happen. But I also think that Chris Bassett home road splits is something that I'm really deeply looking into these days, because he's been significantly better at home than he has been on the road. And if you get into a situation where he's slotted to be your starter on the road, I think that would be something that I think about and say, hey, look, like these numbers are staring us in the face. Are we sure we want to take that chance? So for me, it would be like naturally, if everyone's pitching really, really well and those Bassett splits start to figure themselves out, you probably have to go Lauer, even though he's been so incredible. He's the one that's done it before, so at least that's part of the equation. But if Bassett's home road splits are still the way they are, I'm probably going Chris Bassett if the starter happens to be on the road. I think I would put him in the bullpen.
It comes to I keep going back to what John Schneider always, when Chris Bassett does weird stuff. And Schneider keeps saying that Bassett does weird well, because it's like, because what do you actually need in the bullpen? I keep coming back to almost nobody, maybe a ride it out, but I go through them. Scherzer's too good. Gossman's too good. Bieber, no. Lauer, I want to keep rewarding him with starts. Barrios is unbelievable. And again, good teams, good problems, yada yada. But it's at a point where who adds something to the bullpen that's not there? And Bassett, man, I hate it, but he does seem like the most down for anything. He made that relief appearance before the All-Star game. Just
the fact he was willing to is huge.
Yeah, and not just willing to, but the voluntarily to. I think he told John Schneider, shut up, I'm pitching. He was into it, man, and I could see him having that moment if he needed to.